Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. I have a degree of sympathy with the Conservative amendment. I mean, it does seem to me that we do need to invest in the road network in terms of safety. And it is clear that we need to identify where the worst problems are going to take place. A focus on that must be in the context of looking at the numbers of accidents, and particularly serious accidents involving fatalities. What I think is important in that context is that there actually are criteria, and that those are actually dealt with by professionals who actually can assess the situation and the problems. And we don't actually have a process whereby people simply assert that their problem is somehow worse than anybody else's. Now, I don't know what the situation is in Lawrencekirk, and Mr Rumbles is obviously very exercised about that. But anybody who's been involved in dealing with roads budgets over a period of time, I hope would accept that what you need to do is actually identify what needs to be done, what can be done, and how that relates to other kinds of priorities. And I would hope that that's a situation which operates in every context. And I've got a short stretch of the A82 in my constituency where there have been 3 fatalities in the last 15 months. And I am working with the different road authorities to try and find a solution to that problem, or at least mitigation measures which will reduce the future fatalities. But it requires professional judgment. It's not something that's going to be decided on by me as a politician, ultimately. And what we need to do is identify the correct solutions, rather than necessarily the solutions which local people might prefer. So I think it's important that you know, while bearing in mind the sympathy that we all have naturally to people who suffer from accidents and their families, that nonetheless it needs to be done in a professional way, and the allocation needs to be done in a professional way. And one of the problems I have with the wording, as opposed to the spirit of Alex Johnston's motion, is it might be seen that the roads budget should be distributed in a way that takes away from road maintenance as opposed to road projects. Now, there's a wee caveat in there for me, because I actually think that a lot of road accidents are actually a product of poor maintenance. They're actually a product of potholes and unanticipated traffic problems, which are not major schemes. They're not about straightening out bends in the road or sorting out junctions. They're actually about keeping the roads in a good state of repair. And again, I think there's a matter for professional judgment here, how we actually take the different priorities forward. And I hope that that's something that the Minister will quite properly maintain. One of the things that I think he does need to do, however, and the ways he needs to drive the professionals forward, is by highlighting the range of concerns that exist. I mean, I tried to do this in my speech, talking about the problems being experienced by cyclists. I'm also very concerned on behalf of people representing the visually impaired, who are really worried, I think, about this idea of shared surfaces and the impact that can actually have on the unsighted and the partially sighted, the lack of warning that potentially can arise from cars or even bicycles on shared surfaces coming out unexpectedly. And I think what we have to do is think of all road users, all current road users and all potential users when we actually design our streets, and also in allocating the resources to maintain them. And it does seem to me that not only have we got to look at historic accidents, traffic accidents in particular, but we also need to look at the opportunities that people have or don't have to use the roads because of their present configuration and design. I would like to see our roads used in a different way. I would like to see more people feeling confident to walk or cycle and less people feeling that they need to rely on the car. If we can redesign our road network, not immediately but slowly towards that objective, I think we'll be moving in a positive direction, not just in terms of road safety, but also in terms of climate change. I am not going to oppose the Liberal Democrats' motion, although I'm not 100% convinced that reducing the blood level issue is actually the most important issue. I think statistically it's clear that reducing speed, both on trunk roads and other roads in areas across Scotland, and on residential roads, would actually deliver more significant returns. If the Minister is going to have a conversation with his colleagues in Westminster elsewhere, I hope he'll have a broad-based conversation around all of these issues. I think it has been a useful debate, and I look forward to participating in the vote at decision time, and hopefully we'll come up with something sensible.